What's up, everyone? This is the Next Tape Podcast, episode 113 with Mikel and
Tanyka.
where we have conversations on different topics. So it's been a mixed weather this week. We had
Oh my gosh.
a little, it's been like, heat
We
wave.
had Satan's asshole in the beginning part of the week.
Yeah.
Well, this is coming out a week later, but yes, we had Satan's asshole.
Yeah.
And
then we had rain.
then we had
And
some rain.
people say it was cold on Thursday. I'm like, it wasn't cold. It was
No,
just
it
like
was
cooler.
not cold on Thursday.
It was like a little windy with a little simmer down, but it wasn't
Yeah.
cold, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, this is
I
not
found
cold.
it cooler this morning, aka
Yeah.
Friday morning. I
Mhm.
found it cooler this morning.
Mhm.
To the point where it's like I didn't have to have the AC on in the car,
Right.
all that, like it was fine. But as the day kind of went on, and I was in the car a lot today, between, looking at places and, running errands with my boyfriend, whatever. And he was just kind of like, can you turn the air on? It's getting hot. Like, it's true. It started off this morning was like, I don't know, 19 degrees Celsius. And then it went up to like 26.
Right.
And he's like, it's hot. Can you turn the air on? And I'm like, okay.
It's funny.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I particularly did not like Satan's asshole. I know some people do.
Hey,
Um,
I rather it than the cold, than this extreme cold weather.
I mean, I don't.
Hey, you get your exercise in there. You can go outside. I feel like you can go outside. People hate the heat like the heat waves, but I feel like you could still go outside in it versus the cold. Like,
no,
was it cold?
no,
Really?
no. I hate it. I mean, okay. Honestly, I don't want to go outside in extreme cold or extreme heat because on the one hand, I'm like freezing my ass off. On the other hand, I can't breathe. So it's
right. There's a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, no, I don't like any of this. I don't want that.
There's a lot of people suffer from dehydration, not enough water, and people can't breathe in the heat wave.
This is the worst. This is worse
it.
weather for like small kids and elderly.
Right.
Extreme heat.
Right.
So, because at least like at the cold, okay, yeah, you're cold, and obviously you can't be outside for long periods of time when it's past, like when it's at a certain point. Like we had the polar vortex again this year. That's no fun either. The wind is hitting your face and it hurts. But like obviously you can't be outside for very long during those times either.
Right.
But at least like in just regular cold, where it's not like that really like hurting your face type cold, I can stand out there. I'll endure it because at least I can put layers on. And at least I can, for the most part, breathe. For the most part. There's times where obviously like if it's really bad you can't breathe. But either.
I was getting sick of it because like May was basically cold, and in the middle I'm like, when's it gonna get warm? When's it gonna happen?
It was miserable. Like I'm a May baby.
It was the worst May I have ever experienced.
It was the worst May. Honestly, like I expect May, at least by the time my birthday comes around, which is in the middle of May, that it's gonna be nice and warm. It's gonna have that nice spring breeze. It's gonna be great. My birthday was miserable. It was raining, and I'm like, and it was cold, and I'm just like, what the hell is this? I want a refund.
Like I don't think last May was like that. I think last May was a lot warmer, I believe.
No, I honestly can't remember what happened much in May last year, but
I
don't remember it being like that.
But I remember the weather was a lot nicer than that.
Yeah.
That was that was
No, yeah, that was
miserable
a weird May. It's a weird
And
May.
then it just got yeah, then it just got warm in June, and I was like, yes, yes, this is what I want.
Yeah, but
This is
I
I
don't
don't
want Satan's ass
I,
in my space. I want him to be where he's supposed
yeah,
to be,
yeah,
and I want just normal weather, the humidex being at somewhere generous,
hmm
but not too generous, and
yeah,
that's all I want. This was just too much. It was not
yeah.
good. It's not good.
I mean, it's I mean, like I said, I just keep saying I understand people complain, but I'm not
You're
definitely
also a
complaining.
summer baby, so I wonder if that
I'm
helps.
not definitely. I'm not. Yeah,
You're
yeah.
you're right at the
I'm
point
not
where
complaining.
you're right at that point where it's August. It's usually
Yeah,
hotter
yeah.
in the hottest point in summer is in August, and
I'm
the
not.
July into early August, which is where
Yeah,
where you sit, right before Satan's demons come out, which is the
yeah,
hornets. So
yeah, yeah.
right before that happens, I hate that time of year. Not looking forward to it. It's gonna be.
And
I
guess
mean, I'm
what?
already freaking out over ants.
That's
Okay.
funny.
An ant fell on me while me and my boyfriend were sitting in the car earlier
Yeah,
today,
yeah.
waiting to go see a place. I'm sitting in the car, he's there on his phone, and this thing I felt crawling on me. I'm like, what the hell? I look over and there's an ant on me, and I
Mhm.
freaked out. And then he's like judging me.
That's funny. That's funny.
And I'm like, don't judge me
Hmm
for the fact that I don't like insects. So imagine
hmm
hornets. I'm a mess.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I guess. No, I guess what? I guess what? Last day of school for like elementary and high schoolers as well.
right.
I don't know if high schoolers had their school over before that because
I
usually high
think
schoolers
so. It's been pretty
wait like four
quiet.
days. Yeah, 4 days
Um,
before the elementary schoolers.
yeah,
So that,
yeah.
but yeah, I think
I
it's
think
the
so.
last day for junior high schoolers and then elementary schoolers as well.
Yeah,
So they're gonna get
I
sent.
because again, you know where I live, right
Yeah,
by our old high school, and it's been
yeah,
quiet the last couple days. So
mm,
I think school's out, been out for a bit.
yeah.
Um, and I mean, Lord, I mean, this might make you feel worse from what I'm about to say, but I'm realizing because again, the death anniversary of Michael Jackson was a few days ago,
hmm
um, June 25th.
hmm
And I always remember, I mean, I remember because obviously I'm a fan, but I also remember because it was smack dab in the middle of um, my grad breakfast. Remember, we used to do grad
Right,
breakfast. It
right,
was
right.
smack dab in between the grad breakfast. Oh, no, it's
hmm
not grad breakfast, sorry. Prom. It was smack dab in the middle of prom and
mm
graduation.
Yeah.
So my year for me, prom was the 24th,
hmm
graduation was the 26th, and he
hmm
died right in the middle there. Um,
Oh, that
and
sucks.
yeah, yeah. And I remember going to school the next day and people were like, "Oh, did you hear Michael Jackson died?" I'm like, "Shut the up." Like, I don't, this is supposed to be happy. It's supposed to be happy that I'm getting out of this hellhole. So, um, but when I was like calculating, okay, how long has it been since he
hmm
passed?
hmm
He died in 2009, so it was just like that's been like 16 years since he
mm
passed, and I'm just
Right,
like, Jesus, it's been 16 years since I graduated high school, and
right.
that hit really hard. And then I realized, oh, the hell, it's been 20 years since I graduated from elementary school. I'm just making myself feel worse. So I was like, okay, but yeah,
That's crazy. Yeah,
16 years.
yeah. 16.
Nuts. Well,
Yeah,
for you,
yeah, I know
longer.
it's probably a little bit longer. It's
Probably
probably
closer to like 19,
yeah,
18. Yeah, because we're 3
yeah,
years apart. I
yeah.
imagine about,
That's
yeah, about
yeah.
19
Just
years.
that's crazy.
It's nuts when you think about it.
Yeah, it is like that long. Like maybe in high school.
Yeah.
Shoosh. I feel like I just came out that time, like 5 years ago. But it's not 5 years
Seriously.
ago. It's 19.
I
But
mean, I haven't felt like that, mind you. I think by the time I hit like 25, I was like, okay, yeah, pretty far
yeah,
removed now from graduating high school. So I
yeah.
think at that point I was already graduated from college. So I was just like, whatever. But
Mhm. Hmm.
My high school
Yeah.
experience wasn't one that I necessarily want to remember.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah. Okay.
we haven't even gotten to the episode yet, so guys, the
No,
rambling.
yeah,
So,
yeah. No, we're just talking about and chilling and vibing.
um,
But
but
we're
before we
getting there.
head
We're
into
getting
it,
there. Yeah.
I was gonna probably talk about this during the July episode, a bonus episode, but
Hmm.
you know what? We'll talk about it quickly here. Did you
Hmm.
hear about the homicide at Ajax GO Station?
I heard about that. Yeah, I just saw
Yeah,
a article based on that on the. I if I didn't see that article,
yeah.
I wouldn't know about it. That yeah, that's crazy. And
It's
just
it
gonna.
was nuts because I woke up Monday morning. I wasn't going into the office that day, and honestly, thank God I didn't because Lord, um, only because I usually park in the parking garage, and we'll talk about that. But he was basically found in the tunnel of the which is the west tunnel,
Uh-huh.
which is what the parking garage is connected to. It's connected to that side of the station. So it would have been
Mm,
an absolute wreck to get down there because my mom can't take the stairs, and usually I'm parking on like the fourth or fifth level on a Monday because usually it's pretty quiet in
yeah.
comparison to other days.
So the guy's name is Isaiah Little. He's
So
28 years old.
they released his name because they
Yeah.
weren't releasing his name initially.
Yeah.
So he was
Yeah.
20,
28. Yeah, he was 28.
28. Okay.
Yeah, 28.
Yeah.
Uh, from Ajax was found unconscious and suffering from gunshot wounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was alive when they found him, probably
Hmm.
barely, but he was alive. And they sent him to a trauma center in Toronto where he um succumbed to his injuries. But um that morning I woke up and to take my mom to the station.
Huh.
Um and I saw like a message on 'cause I usually get like alerts from Go
Hmm.
on my phone, text messages usually. And there was like a text message basically saying like a police investigation is ongoing. But usually, like if it's like a fatality or something like that, they would say what station it is or what.
Right,
Nothing.
right, right.
So it wasn't even cluing in to me. I'm like,
Did
the hell, it's
did
weird.
you did you see any like caution tape when you?
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay. Right,
I had
right.
forewarning though, because thank
Yeah,
God
yeah.
Letitia, um, who's my friend, was messaging me and saying,
Mhm.
you know, guys, be careful. And I'm like, what the hell? And that's when I found out from her was because she was watching CP24. She was up
Mhm.
with her son.
Mhm.
So I was just like, oh, okay. So when I got there, so basically how it's set up in the parking garage was usually I still drop my mom off in the parking garage.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is there's two entrances into it. There's like what I call quote unquote the middle section, which is basically the entrance that's closest to the east side
Uh-huh.
of the station, and then there's the opening to closer to the west side, which is kind of by like the like trees, like ravine or whatever you want to call it, but it's like in
Mm,
that area. That area on the west side of the station was completely blocked off. There, like you couldn't get in there. I could literally see reporters trying to take pictures of the scene, but again, I don't know what they were seeing there. I
mhm.
don't know if it was more of a perimeter thing because, like,
Right.
obviously they're gonna block off an entire perimeter. But
Mhm.
I don't know like what they could see from that point. But it was an absolute mess. We couldn't get into there. We were going into the other side, but my mom could not even get into it from that side because we didn't know at the time where they like where it happened. So
Mhm.
she had to kind of go over to the east side. So that's because the whole west side was blocked off.
Right,
So when
right.
the investigation was cleared out by the time I had to pick her up,
Mhm.
around 6 o'clock,
Mhm.
um, and I could tell that this is where it happened because the entire tunnel, um, and not even just the tunnel, but even leading up to the station,
Right.
on the west side was just
Blocked.
not blocked, wet. Like they were
Oh, the evidence.
washing down blood.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So the whole tunnel was just
Oh,
freshly cleaned, which they do that
hmm
periodically,
hmm
but I would say they probably only do that once every, I don't know, 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
They had just recently done it, like maybe a month and a half ago. So the
Hmm
fact that it was like this already, I'm like, okay, so this is where it happened.
hmm
And see, they're good because they basically, I mean, I don't know what like happened. Could he have
hmm
gotten shot and could have, was walking still? He was still mobile and was mobile to a certain point. I don't know, like in terms of like, just trigger warning, like
Yeah,
a blood trail.
yeah,
Like I don't know.
suffer from gunshot wounds when
Yeah.
officers were called to the Ajax train station around 11:30 p.m. to assist an ambulance. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's really sad.
yeah.
It's also really eerie kind of walking as everyone does, walking down that tunnel, kind of knowing, oh, this is where it was. And initially they were saying parking lot, but when because I was kind of talking to Letitia that day,
hmm
about it, and I said, it's not the parking lot because of where everything was blocked off. I'm like, it's not the parking
hmm
lot. Um, I'm like, it might be in the actual parking garage, but I don't think it's actually in the quote unquote parking lot. Um, and that's what they've further, since then have said it was in the tunnel.
hmm hmm
It's nuts. And
Yeah,
I
it
mean, if
is.
anyone wants to pay respects or anything, they do currently have a visual um kind of going right now.
Mm-hmm.
Of like it's weird when I was walking up to go like meet my mom at the platform today, I saw this little thing by the side of um the door going into that side of the station, and I was like,
Yeah,
it looked like trash, honestly. I'm like, what the hell is this? And the thing is, it's like we have homeless people too in the area that
yeah,
camp
yeah,
out in the station. So I'm thinking it could have been from a homeless person.
yeah, yeah.
But as you get closer, you can see that it's like a memorial in a sense for the victim. Um, it's really sweet. And but yeah, it's kind of sitting there right now. I don't know when it's been like when it got there because my mom was home yesterday, so I don't know when they put it there, but
Uh,
yeah,
yeah.
really sad.
I think they caught the criminal who got him. His
Well, they
name
did
is
catch him.
yeah,
Okay.
Clifford Matthews
Wow.
Farah. He's
Oh,
33 years old,
wow.
right?
They must have known each other because I know they were saying that it was isolated,
Mm-hmm.
and they basically in their way of saying
Yeah,
these two potentially know each other.
yeah, yep.
And like it's nothing that maybe the average person needs to worry about. Um, like it's not random necessarily
Mm-hmm.
because that was my first thought. I'm like, could this have involved with like homeless people? Could a homeless person have done this? Um,
Mm-hmm.
because like I said again, they camp out there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when they kind of said it was isolated, I'm like, okay, either this could have involved two homeless people or
Right,
these
right.
two people know each other. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh my gosh,
crazy.
nuts.
Well, the police are asking if anyone with information can contact the hoster of the homicide unit at 1-888-579-1520 extension 5414. And then, the Crime Stoppers as well. You can contact
Mhm.
them at 800,
And I think Crime
1-800, yeah, 222 tips 844 8477 or online at durhamcrimestoppers.ca. So that's what they uh they are asking the committee. So yeah, it's crazy, like, that happened, and it's sad. It's sad that it happened to a young man like that, like 28 years old.
yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
um
All right.
yeah, yeah.
Well, let's get into the actual episode.
Yeah.
What's the actual planned three topics that we
Uh-huh.
have here? So,
Hmm.
um, so a community is canceling Canada Day certification right before Canada Day.
Really?
This has been in the works for a little bit. This isn't new, but I thought this is pretty fitting for right before Canada Day.
Hmm.
Um, Tragedy on the DVP calls for more protection. And that's Don Valley Parkway or parking lot, depending on what you want to call it. And for my Hamilton fans, Leslie Odom Jr. is returning as Aaron Burr. So we're going to be talking about that too. Kind of ended off.
Amber, as in,
Aaron Burr. So Leslie Odom Jr. plays the original Aaron Burr. If you were to ever watch it on Disney Plus, that
oh,
is
so
who is
are
playing Aaron Burr.
are they doing another film based on
No, they're not
Hamilton,
doing
or they're
another
doing a
film.
play?
He's just returning as Aaron Burr for a short period of time. He's he's back on touring with Hamilton
Mm,
for a short period of time, but we'll talk about it when we get to it.
mm, mm,
A Canada Day celebration that has a history stretching back 45 years in an Ontario town won't be happening this year. So the group that usually presents the July 1st festivities in Milton, which is west of Toronto, said rising costs and the declining number of volunteers led to this cancellation.
mm,
This is the second community in Ontario to pull the plug on Canada Day in 2025. So the Halton Agricultural Society, which took over Canada Day at the Milton Fairgrounds 3 years ago, broke the news on its website saying it regrets the decision but cannot continue. Quote, like many other not for profit volunteer run organizations, we have been facing a decline in volunteers and resources over the past few years. Due to the operational capacity and low membership of our small society, it is no longer feasible to continue to safely execute such a large scale event. This has not been an easy decision to make, as we know that many families have attended this event for generations and look forward to it every year. We are grateful for the many members of our community who have attended and supported the Canada Day event throughout the years. In the past, Canada Day in Milton included games, food vendors, musicians, and contests. The night was capped off with a large display of fireworks. Although community partners have provided financial assistance, has said the donations haven't kept pace with the rising costs of fireworks, security, policing, and entertainment. The event has been operating at a significant loss over the last few years. The message continues. In addition to the financial constraints, we do not have enough volunteers to safely and effectively execute an event that sees the fairgrounds host over 10,000 people throughout the day. Canada Day events have been operated by service clubs, community groups, and volunteers in Milton since the late 1970s, but have run into similar difficulties and other disruptions over the years. The Halton Agricultural Society took over the festival in 2022, following a 2 year absence due to the pandemic. The group is also responsible for the Milton Fall Fair, an event it has managed since 1854. Nuts. Has also owns the fairgrounds, which will now be closed on July 1st. So, tomorrow. Canada Day celebrations have now been canceled in two Greater Toronto Area communities.
mm.
So the Mississauga Lakefront area, for credit, said it would not hold its Paint the Town Red event on July 1st this year due to economic concerns. As is the case with the Port Credit Group, has said it would revisit the decision to host Canada Day in 2026 if more sponsorship and community support can be found.
Ah,
However, has said its situation is not unique, acknowledging that community groups across Ontario are in a similar position of cutting back while struggling to survive without community support. Um, so that's basically that article. And again, this was an article I'm pretty sure I saw maybe earlier in the year,
um,
probably, if not before, not long after the announcements of the tariffs and everything. So I'm
right.
really curious to see kind of how this will play out for Milton, for per credit moving forward, and next year and years to follow, and potentially other areas outside of Toronto. Because I think like downtown Toronto, obviously they will do their event and they'll figure it out. But for
Right.
smaller areas like, Milton, like Port Credit, like Ajax,
Mhm.
Whitby potentially, Pickering, these parts of this, the east side or further west,
Yeah.
um, may not be able to do. So I don't know.
Mm.
I guess we'll have to see. As far as I know, Ajax is still doing their thing this year, which
Mhm.
they usually do at Rotary Park,
Yeah.
um, which I haven't attended in quite some time, but I did go when my brother was young,
Mhm.
because it's just practically minutes from my grandparents because they live in the area. So yeah, it's fun. Um, so yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So I have something,
Okay.
and it was devastating when I saw this
Mm-hmm.
on Twitter/X
Ugh.
this morning.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're not a fan of sports, but
No.
I think you know who this man is.
Okay.
Do you know who Masai Ujiri is?
I feel like it sounds familiar, but I don't know.
So he was the vice president of the Toronto Raptors. Actually, the vice chairman and president of the Toronto Raptors.
Okay. Was?
Yes.
Did he pass
Just of
away?
today. No,
Okay.
you got let
You
go.
gotta let go. Okay.
After 13 seasons being with the Toronto Raptors,
Mm-hmm.
Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, Masai Ujiri, part of, sorry, they parted ways, basically. Both of
Mm-hmm.
them parted ways. So MSLE parted ways with Masai Ujiri.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so devastated. I was so shocked by it. He brought the Toronto Raptors a championship, their first championship back in 2019, if you remember.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people just like was so embracing the Toronto Raptors. He did the trade.
2019 was an interesting year for,
Yeah.
yeah.
He did the trade with DeMar DeRozan and traded for Kawhi Leonard, and that's what led to the whole championship. Uh, Raptors. He did a lot for Africa, Giants of Africa. So he
Mm-hmm.
invested like he put down if I'm wrong, I might be wrong. Like he invested into like basketball courts down in Africa
Nice.
and donated a lot of stuff down there as well.
Mm-hmm.
He's African himself, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Um yeah,
Is he
he's the
one of the
first.
guys that would be in like the commercials or something? There's like
No,
one particular person that I'm seeing in my head that kind of has an
n-
African look to him,
no,
but
no, no, no,
I don't know if so.
no. No.
Okay.
I think he's the second black owner of in
Okay.
Toronto Raptors history. I think Isaiah
Okay.
Thomas was the owner of the uh Toronto Raptors, but Masai Ujiri is the. I don't know if he was besides Isaiah Thomas was like the GM or the owner. I can't remember, but I remember when 1995 launched, Isaiah was either GM or Toronto owner. I
Mm,
had to look into that. That was such a long time, but uh if that if he if Isaiah, sorry, not Isaiah, but like if I'm mixed up a little bit here. Isaiah Thomas was an owner, then Masai's like the first black owner of the Toronto Raptors. So but yeah, he just did a lot of stuff for the Toronto Raptors. A lot outside uh for Toronto, and I would say Canada as well, because like even the former prime minister, knows about him, Justin Trudeau.
mhm,
So like, just this morning, Justin Trudeau just tweeted, posted now to Messiah. Messiah is my friend. Thank you for your inspiring leadership and dedication to the Raptors. No one will forget the incredible 2019 championship run and your passion for the game. You have shown not only your youth in Canada, but around the world and in Africa through Giants of Africa. The power of sport and education. Looking forward to seeing what you do next. So that's from Justin Trudeau. Obviously, there was a lot of people who follow the Toronto Raptors, basically tweeting and appreciating him, how much he did for, like I said, the Toronto Raptors and our country, you know. So he's going to be sadly missed. 13 seasons and being with the Toronto Raptors. The GM of they were like partners, like together, Bobby Wester. There's rumors that he might take over the president and chairman spot, but who knows? And also, I want to say this: there was an article 4 years ago that you know who Ed Rogers is?
Mm, again, a name that sounds familiar, but
Yeah, you know,
don't know.
you pay his bill. You pay his bill. I
No,
don't
that's
know if
nice.
I don't know if you're Bell or Rogers.
Rogers.
There you go.
Okay. Ed, actually, correction. I
Edward
don't pay his
Rogers. It's
bills. My mother
Edward.
does.
Yeah. Edward Rogers. Let's say that. The third.
Okay.
He had a problem with a black man being an owner of the Toronto Raptors. And, you know, like this is 2 years after the Toronto Raptors won a championship. He
So
said
he's a
to,
racist.
I would say, so he might be,
I mean,
I'm
why
not
else
saying
would
he's,
you say you have a problem
he had a
with
problem. He had a problem
when,
with a
let's be
black man.
very real, like,
Yeah,
okay, you have a problem with a black man owning the Raptors, but
yeah,
yet, if you look at statistics,
yeah.
there's a lot of black men who's winning those games.
So
So what?
it was during his last Masai's last contract here. They're gonna resign Masai. Masai wanted some like, you know, they were negotiating his contract. And I guess then Masai wanted some things on, you know, you wanted full ownership. And Ed Rogers said this about Masai Ujiri that he's not worth it.
Okay. Wow.
He's not worth it. And Masai was, well, there was rumors that Masai was just basically uh not happy about that. But at the time, they resigned him to a longer contract. It was like I think it was around like 4 or 5 years contract. And this is his last season. This was
Mm.
his last. He still had one more year on his contract,
Mhm.
but I guess so much has changed in MLSE. You know, like uh the person that signed him to that contract no longer there, right? So so much has changed, and then Rogers is looking to uh making some changes around the ownership, including the Leafs, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the Toronto Raptors, and because the Toronto Raptors have been like, you know, on the like losing side and rebuilding for the last like, you know, years, they look at that and it's like they're looking at that and they're like, okay, he's not doing too well. Masai's not doing too well with the Toronto Raptors, blah blah blah. And they're just like, what is he doing? But I'm also thinking it has a lot that they didn't want to pay him anymore. And I do think Rod that Ed Rogers had a lot to do with what happened 4 years ago as well, in my opinion. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Because I
just
mean, again, like
yeah,
Rogers has such
influence with
on
the yeah
a
with
lot of
the
things,
yeah. So
a lot of stuff.
yeah, so they do
Yeah.
have part. I think they do have part ownership into the MLSE. Rod, oh,
Because
yeah,
if I'm
and
not
then yeah.
incorrect, they play at the Rogers Center, right?
Ye-
Or it's like a
mm,
section of the Rogers Center or something like that, or it's like,
Scotia Bank Arena. They play at Scotia Bank Arena.
oh, Scotiabank
They
Arena.
they could call it the Rogers Center, and might as well because like
It's pretty much like,
Rogers do own some
do
part
they own
of
Scotia? No,
ownership.
they don't own Scotiabank Arena.
They don't.
Scotiabank owns Scotiabank
Scotia
Arena.
owns it, but like the Leafs, the Blue Jays, they're all together owned by an umbrella. I don't remember how the ownership worked, but like it's like Bell, Rogers, they all
Yeah,
have some type of share agreements.
yeah.
Same with Maple Leaf Entertainment. Yeah,
Bell, I think is
yeah.
like the BMO fields. Pretty sure Bell
I
has
would say
it's
so.
like
Yeah, I would say
ownership
so.
over
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I know.
Soccer, yeah. Toronto FC, they're all on under the same umbrella. The
Hmm.
only team that's not under the same umbrella, I believe, is Jesus.
Argos?
I think is it the Argos? But they're in
Maybe.
the state.
I feel
They're in
like
the
the
stadium.
Argos is on a league of
They're in
their
the same.
own.
They're in the same stadium. Though I think
I
they
think
got bought.
they're in the BMO, I think. BMO Stadium. I
Yeah,
think.
right. They moved from. Oh yeah, that's right. That's
They're
right.
in BMO.
But they're all together. I think they're all together now. I don't remember. I think they're Toronto Argos, Blue Jays, Toronto
No,
FC,
Blue Jays plays in the
Rogers.
shit.
They're all together. They're all
No,
they're
no,
all
no.
on
I
one.
hear what you're saying.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
could all be still owned under the same umbrella,
yeah, yeah.
but they don't play in the same places,
Yeah, yeah, they don't play in the same
right?
places now. Yeah,
No.
yeah, yeah.
So, like the Blue Jays, I can't remember the freaking arena's called.
The Rogers Center.
Is it the Rogers Center?
Yes. This it used to be called the Sky Dome. Now it's the Rogers
No,
Center.
no, I know, but I
Yeah.
just visualize where they they are, and that's not where the Rogers Center is. They're by there's a field
You're
that's right by
you're
the
you're,
CN Tower.
you're talking about
It's
BMO
not the
Field?
Rogers Center. Huh?
You're talking about BMO Field. That's the one you're
No,
talking
no,
about.
BMO Field is closer to like where the CNE is. Like you couldn't see it from there. It's not the
Mm.
BMO Field. It's this one. Oh shit. Hold on, I'm gonna check. That's gonna bother me. It's literally right by the CN Tower in Ripley's. Like you can it's like when
Oh
you're
man.
walking from like outside to either CN
Yeah,
Tower or
yeah,
Ripley's,
yeah.
it's on the right hand side while CN Tower and Ripley's is on the left hand side.
Jeez, I
Um
only know those two. Other than that,
where
three actually. I only know those two. BMO Field and Rogers Center and Scotia. The new one is Rogers
Oh,
Stadium.
it is. Okay, so it is the Rogers Center. It's the ballpark. So the Rogers Center is seating. Okay, yeah, it is the Rogers Center. You're right.
Rogers Center. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the new one, I think they debuted it this week. Rogers Stadium. That's for like concerts and every single thing. And I think did you heard about that one?
The which one?
It's Rogers Stadium.
No.
Yeah,
So that's different.
that's different. That's for like
Oh, I see here.
concerts.
Our Rogers Stadium and Rogers Center are the same. So
Yeah.
the temporary open air venue, which has a capacity to host 50,000 people, is located at the former Downsview Airport.
Mm.
Rogers Stadium shouldn't be confused with Rogers Center, which is located downtown.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's more like uptown
yeah, yeah,
Rogers
yeah,
Stadium.
yeah. So I think they're all in
The
the same.
Downsview Airport. I wonder if that's where if that's where I'm thinking.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
passed it. I
yeah,
passed that airport.
yeah,
It's kind of like
yeah.
the same idea as like an Oshawa airport. Not much
Mm-hmm.
to talk about,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
basically.
Well, yeah. Well,
Uh,
they're all in the same. I think they're all in the same umbrella. I think Toronto's got bought like a few years ago. Uh,
like
they
when
got brought.
if I
Yeah.
look here, there's actually one here that says when the Sky Dome changed to Rogers Center. So the Sky Dome was officially renamed Rogers Center on February 2nd, 2005,
Yep.
which is nuts because I feel like we were still calling it Sky Dome for the
Yeah.
longest time after
Yeah.
that.
And the Blue Jays haven't been doing too well under them. So like for Ed Rogers to even
Well, I mean,
say that.
Blue Jays had a chance for a second there a couple of years back.
Yeah,
They were pretty
2015
close.
to 2015, and then
Yeah.
the same owner fired the guy that
It
is
wasn't 2015, it was after that.
is it was
The time I'm
2015.
talking about, it was more recent. It was like maybe 2021, 2022.
Oh, that team that team didn't do too good. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But like the team that was shining the most was the 2015 team. To be
Okay.
fair, right? The one
Um,
that I know which team you're talking about. The one that got eliminated in the first round.
uh-huh. Yeah,
That
that's
the
about
team
right.
that the team that was talked about more was the 2015 team.
Mm,
But they fired I think the GM at the time because he was spending too much money and he wasn't listening to the GM, the owners, sorry, not the, right? So he just said, "F it, I'm spending this much money on these players," and then
mm,
they looked at him. They were successful,
mm,
right? But they didn't resign him, or he just left,
okay.
right? And I was mind balled. The Blue Jays were successful that year, and then the next year, I think they went to they got eliminated or they went to the same round, and then I think it got either got swept or whatever. I don't care, but
Never mind.
uh story story from there, they just got worse from there, and and the same owners after when the same GM after when that like guy left, they've been there for like 9 years. So like, yeah, it's just been continues losing from the Blue Jays. So I'm more worried about the Toronto Raptors uh going like if they get like a new owner,
What's
right?
gonna happen
Y-
to the team?
Yeah, it's new owner, new president, whatever, blah blah
Mhm.
blah. I wonder like the it's gonna they might go to a different direction
I
because
mean, who knows?
Yeah, the GM hopefully the GM is going to take that spot, the current GM, because the current GM it was with Masai Ujiri, like he was always with him, been around him, etc. So he knows how to just he has that energy from Masai that can be transferred to the
I mean, again, like
yeah
who knows? Because it's
yeah.
like I feel like I mean, yes, there's always a possibility that it can go the route of, you know,
Mhm.
other Toronto teams,
Yeah.
but I feel like the Raptors is like one of the better teams in Toronto, just generally.
Yeah,
Um,
it has
so
yeah, it has changed. Like the culture has changed. It used to be the Toronto Maple Leafs was like running Toronto. Still think they're kind of running Toronto in a way.
I feel like I'm not even so much the Maple Leafs,
Yeah,
but hockey in general is
yeah,
always going to run things because
yeah.
we're
Because it's
Canadian,
yes,
we're hockey.
yes,
Where it's like, let's not forget that Canadians created basketball. So,
yes.
it's
Hmm. Hmm.
we all watch those heritage commercials. Come on now. We didn't create hockey. It was
Hmm.
America.
Hmm.
We just, I guess, play it better. I don't know. But
I
like, yeah,
just
it's
uh,
our I don't know.
I'm
I
just
will
gonna
never get it.
yeah I'm just gonna say this one last time.
Oh.
Ed Rogers.
Okay. Okay. I was really nervous because I was gonna say something about
Fuck
hockey,
Ed
and I'm like,
Rogers.
oh, I'm gonna have to bleep this
I
all
am
out.
going to switch from Rogers to
Uh,
Fizz Mobile.
I
Thank
mean,
you very much.
honestly, I mean, why do everyone have to ruin everything? Like, no one can have anything nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I just don't.
My mom is never changing though. She's never changing because
Oh, well, I don't know.
we've been with Rogers for years and years
Well,
and years.
I hate well, I should have used the word hate, but
It's
I just like
fine.
the
I
guy,
think I hate Elon
and it's
Musk,
like like he
but
even has the nerve to take a picture. His family has taken a picture with Donald Trump. That's even fucking worse.
oh,
Worse. So when I saw that like
oh,
4 years ago, and I didn't. Someone tweeted that today. I was like, oh, okay, now I know.
oh,
No,
Okay,
I don't know not to just like this guy
listen,
ever.
listen, listen. I'm just going to, I don't pay the bills. Okay. My mother does. And my mother's not going to change because she's, like I've said this before on the podcast, she's very particular as to
Mhm.
what service she's going to use with which company. Um, but I know if I'm on my own, I'm going to bill.
Yeah, yeah,
So
nah. Like I'm
I'm
switching
not
as soon as this life
supporting,
gets.
not supporting a Trump supporter. I'm
Yeah,
not going to support a person who, well, I guess has shown his true colors and
yeah,
thinks like a Trump. So no, thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. So
Not for
yeah,
me.
apparently it was his wife, but I'm not gonna believe. I'm
I
not
don't
believing
care.
his wife and
I don't
his
care
family.
who it
I'm
is.
not. I don't. Not
It
believing.
feels worse when it's a woman that's
Mm,
supporting Trump
yeah,
because he is a misogynist and a racist and
mm.
has literally like
And then
put women into the
mm,
position of we're just summed us up into what we can offer and our
mm,
parts and all that. So
mm, yeah, yeah, but yeah, like I said, Ed Rogers. Hopefully, people agree with me out there. And thank you, Masai, for the 13 years that you dealt with the Toronto Raptors. You're an inspiration to myself because, like, not a lot of Black people like us are can get to that position. And,
Mhm.
you did a lot for the Toronto Raptors and also us Canadians, and I hopefully, along with Vince Carter, and I don't know if you know who Kyle Lowry is, that's our PG
um,
that was the guy that was
I
in
know
the.
who Vince Carter is.
Okay, yeah, obviously. Kyle Lowry was one of the guys that won a championship with us. And then,
Mm,
hopefully him in the near future gets a statue right where
right where
social
Rogers can see
networking
it.
is. Yeah. Yes, exactly. See his face every single day and get mad every single day. So,
Do the
yeah.
statues like you do the civil Confederate
Yeah. Yeah.
soldiers
Yeah.
type yeah, it's to do
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's
Yeah.
go to the next topic,
Mhm.
which just trigger warning, we are going to be talking about sensitive issues here,
Mhm.
mainly suicide. So if you need to skip this, by all means, please do. I would say maybe skip 5 or so minutes. Um, but yeah, or maybe more. We'll see.
Mhm.
Um, so this is about the DVP situation, the again, Don Valley Parkway. Um, so a horrific event on the Don Valley Parkway, aka parking lot, last Father's Day, has spurred Toronto city councilors to demand a speedier timeline for installation of suicide barriers on the Leaside Side Bridge. So Tally, I think it's Uditsky, tearfully told a meeting of the Infrastructure and Environment Committee that her father, Harold Lettshouse, was on his way to meet her for brunch that day in
Uh-huh.
2024 when someone leapt from the Leaside Bridge and landed on his car on the DVP. The 76-year-old grandfather died in hospital several days later, so he did not die right away. Quote, I was shocked, devastated, angry, and my heart felt like it was going to explode. Uditsky told counselors he was stolen away from us. So actually, correction. So not the person who jumped, but the person whose car that one jumped onto, that's the one that died several days later.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, she says he was stolen away from us as a result of the failure of the city to protect its citizens. Hmm. Plans to install suicide barriers on either side of all major bridges in Toronto have been in the works since 2016, according to
Mhm.
Councillor James pa- Pasternak, who spearheaded the effort to have barriers erected on the Leaside Bridge shortly after Uditsky approached him last summer. A feasibility study on that bridge has been underway since then, with councillors getting an update on its progress at Wednesday's meeting. Figures from Toronto police indicate there were 17 suicides or attempted suicides from the Leaside Bridge in 2023, 9 in 2024, and none so far in 2025 at the time of this article. So that potentially could have changed. Hopefully it didn't. So you kind of see like that number is also declining, which makes me wonder if a lot of it is just pressures from the pandemic, pressures from
Hmm.
work due to pandemic or lack of work due to pandemic. Like it's interesting that the number is higher closer to and is slowly is declining.
Hmm.
But after Uditsky's emotional deputation, councillors voted unanimously to press staff to speed up the process for installing barriers at the Leaside Bridge. The current plan allows for several years before construction begins, and councillors gave staff until September 26th, I believe, of this year, to come up with a plan to install a temporary suicide barrier. That recommendation goes to council for final approval later that particular month, which this would have been about maybe a couple of months ago. So we'll see if there's maybe an update on that.
Hmm.
Staff said they do not have city-wide statistics for suicide deaths at Toronto bridges, but a 2018 report from the city's medical officer of health states that from 2004 to 2015, there were a total of 125 suicide deaths involving bridges in Toronto for an average of 10 such deaths per year. Quote, many jurisdictions have erected barriers at bridge locations and found them to be effective in preventing or reducing suicide deaths with little displacement of suicide deaths to other bridges.
Hmm.
City staff wouldn't say which other bridges in Toronto are being studied as part of their report, quote, given the sensitivity of the topic. However, Pasternak said it's well known that suicide prevention barrier projects are underway at least two nearby sites: the Glen Road pedestrian bridge over Rosedale Valley Road and the Overlea Boulevard Bridge over the DVP. Quote, there's no doubt it's not cheap. It's in the tens of millions of dollars, he said,
Hmm.
but he believes it's worth it. And I do too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That bridge has been the second most used suicide site in North America,
Oh, wow.
all of North America. That is insane. After San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge, which I did not know that. But
Hmm.
after the barrier was installed, suicides dropped from around 9 per year to near zero, according to a 2017 University of Toronto study. The study notes
Hmm.
that although there was a rise in suicides at other locations after the barriers were installed, in the longer term, there was no sustained increase in people jumping from other bridges in the city. A staff report identified 7 options for Leaside, but notes that testing still has to be carried out to ensure that the bridge can bear the added load of suicide barriers on either side. The city has earmarked $500,000 for the preliminary work, which includes the cost of public consultations, but staff said in their report it could be 2028 or longer before shovels are in the ground. To
Hmm.
me, that is unacceptable. That's
Hmm.
3 years from now, or potentially more. Why is that taking so long to figure something out?
Right.
Meanwhile, people are potentially, hurting themselves
Hmm.
over those bridges. So like it's why.
Hmm.
Um
Interesting.
so Pasternak says, quote, suicide is a moment of despair, a moment of hopelessness, of darkness and futility. What we want to do is take away that opportunity. The Leaside Bridge has spanned the Don Valley between Leaside and Pape Donlands since 1927. It was last renovated in 2004, about a year after the luminous veil was installed. That's when the city should have seriously considered installing a barrier there too, according to Jason Ash, who's the co-chair of the Leaside Towers Tenants Association. The LTTA believes bridges must have safety barriers citywide. Too many tragedies have occurred already. Ash told CBC Toronto that although he's seen no numbers on suicide attempts at the bridge, he and his members believe they've risen in recent years. saying, quote, "We know when a suicide has occurred when there's flowers on the bridge, when there's flowers on the lower dawn trail beneath it, and even when there are attempts that are thankfully unsuccessful. The police presence closes all or part of the bridge and impacts the whole area," which is that's another part of it. Not the most important part of it, but it's
Mhm.
definitely a part of that. Ash also noted that last summer's tragedy may give momentum to the effort to speed up the barrier construction at Leaside. Quote, "My heart goes out to the families, particularly in the last year, when innocent people unfortunately lost their lives as well. It's tragedy all around." Uditsky told the committee the lessons of the Luminous Fails success should have been heeded at other locales. "When you know better, you should do better, and you
Mhm.
didn't," is
Mhm.
what she said. "Please change this for the safety of everyone driving on the Down Valley Parkway under that bridge." Agreed.
Mm.
So, but yes, that is that one. So let me just see where we are here. Okay, so we have our last one, and this is our fun one after that little darker one. So Leslie Odom Jr. is returning to the room where it happened. Mikhail doesn't get any of this, but
Room
you
where it
Hamilton people
happens.
with me, you get it. You understand. Okay.
What?
Okay.
No, I don't.
There's a, do you know? There's a song that Aaron Burr sings where he says, "I want to be in the room where it happened. You're not going to keep me from the room where it happened."
Mhm.
So that's why they're saying that in this article, because he is going to be returning to the room where it happened as Aaron, but you should forget it.
Uh-huh. All right.
The actor will reprise his Tony-winning role in Hamilton as Aaron Burr for a limited run, so from September 9th through to
Mhm.
November 23rd. The announcement comes as Hamilton celebrates its 10th anniversary on Broadway, which, if you were like me, that I didn't watch the Tony Awards, but of course, I did watch the performance of Hamilton that they did, a bunch of different like songs that they did um, at
Mhm.
the Tony Awards this year, and it was fantastic. Oh, and Leslie Odom Jr. did sing in the room where it happens, and he was fantastic. Oh, it was
Right.
so good. Okay. So, returning to Hamilton is a deeply meaningful homecoming. He said, "I am so grateful for the chance to step back into the room, especially during this anniversary moment, and
Mhm.
to revisit this brilliant piece that forever changed my life and the lives of so many." Odom joined the company of Hamilton in its off-Broadway run before the musical opened at the Richard Rodgers Theater in August of 2015. He left the show in July 2016, along with fellow star Lin-Manuel Miranda. This is the first time he's reprising that role in 9 years.
Mhm.
Hamilton became a sensation, winning 11 Tonys and the Pulitzer Prize for Drama. The original Broadway company includes Miranda as Alexander Hamilton, Daveed Diggs as Marquis de Lafayette and Thomas Jefferson, Odom as Aaron Burr, Christopher Jackson as George Washington, Jonathan Groff as King George, the
Mhm.
best one there,
Mhm.
Renee Elise Goldsberry as Angelica Schuyler, and
Mhm.
Philippa Sue as Eliza Hamilton.
Mhm.
Quote, "When I saw Leslie perform The Room Where It Happens," which again, I can't even stress to you, if you've watched nothing else and you just watch Leslie Odom Jr.'s performance of In the Room Where It Happens, he is fantastic.
Huh.
Like I saw, obviously the version I saw
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Broadway on stage was a different person altogether. Not even can't even hold a candle to Leslie Odom Jr.
So
Truly
what is
not.
this? So what is this? What is this song? What is
It's
it again?
called In the Room Where It Happens.
Uh-huh.
It's basically so not to get too much into like the history of it, but basically there was Hamilton, Jefferson,
Yeah.
and uh the other one there, Madison, who kind of has some deal going on to get Hamilton's financial plan through Congress. Also, that's kind of when potentially the capital of the United States changed. But it's like, how did that happen when it was like, it was, it was the whole thing. And Aaron Burr was kind of left out of that. And the whole thing, we don't know for sure if Aaron Burr was supposed to be a part of this anyways, or even wanted to be. But in the sense of the show, they kind of make it seem like he wanted to be in the room where it happens. He's basically
Mhm.
jealous that he wasn't there. And here it is, like, you're not gonna keep me from the room where it happens any longer, and I'm gonna do
Mhm.
something about it. So it's basically what the whole like song is about, but like his performance, I can't, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, so where am I? So did I, yeah, so when I was on at the first act two workshop of Hamilton, I knew I was witnessing a historic moment, said the musical's lead producer, Jeffrey Seller. How lucky we are that Leslie is returning to Hamilton and bringing his indelible Burr back to Broadway. Post
Mhm.
Hamilton, Odom has been back on Broadway in the play Pearly Victorious, a non Confederate romp through the Cotton Patch, in which he
Mhm.
scored a Tony nomination for his Best Actor in a Play.
Mhm. Mhm.
He's appeared on screen in Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery.
So I want to say this. Uh, is it the what's it? What do you call the Onion movie? What's that called again? What's the full title of the Onion?
Glass Onion and Knives Out
Glass.
Mystery, which I heard was horrible.
Not the first Onion
The
movie
first one
was
was
good.
good. The
The
Knives Out
second
one.
one was too predictable for me.
Yeah, I
It
heard Knives Out
was,
was great. And then
yeah,
this one was horrible.
yeah. The third one,
There's a
uh,
third?
it is going to be a third one.
Oh
They're releasing,
God.
but under a different title. I think it's something. Let me just check. Continue. I'll just like
Okay. There's also in the Sopranos prequel, The Many Saints of Newark, which I think we've talked about
I
really
heard about that
briefly.
too.
And One Night in Miami, Abbott Elementary as well. And of course, his adaptation of Hamilton with the original cast,
Mhm.
which was appearing on Disney Plus. It still
Yeah.
is.
So so what's it called? It's going to be called Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives
Oh,
Out Mystery.
that's so weird.
Coming. Yeah, yeah.
That's so
It
weird.
is, yeah, it's coming December 12th, 2025.
All right then. Well,
So I will
cool.
be watching.
You will?
Yeah, I will be watching because
Wonderful.
even though I always it's like Marvel. Marvel has a lot of hits, couple misses,
Sure.
but I will still watch it because like it's just their batting average is pretty good. Like
Mm,
they're not gonna hit it out the park every single time. I know like it's a huge franchise, right? With a lot of films. With this franchise, uh yeah, they hit once and then hit they swing and miss in the second film. But I think they could make a hit on the third film. We'll see. We'll see.
okay.
So yeah. Yeah.
But
But
yeah, that's basically it. I'm done. That's it
uh-huh.
for the article. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, it will be really interesting to see Leslie Odom Jr. come back as
Mm,
the hated Aaron Burr. But again, besides that
right.
part, his performance is absolutely incredible. Like
So
absolutely incredible.
So where is this going to be? Where is this film? It's going to be in theaters or going to be
No, he's gonna be touring with Hamilton. I don't know where they'll
Oh, okay.
be,
Right.
if they're gonna be in New York, or I know like the last I heard, which I know they're not there now, but last I heard they were, I think, in Texas,
Mm,
or was it
right.
Texas?
Right.
Something like that.
Okay. Interesting.
So that was like a few months back though. So I don't know if they're
Hmm.
gonna be ending up by the time it's in September up to November, maybe in New
Right.
York.
Right.
I'm not sure though.
All right. Okay. So this ends this episode 113 of the Next Tape podcast. And the Next Tape podcast is available on all podcast platforms. We also have a website called Tanika.
NexttakePodcast.podpage.io.
And where else we at, Tanika?
Facebook and Instagram at Next Take Podcast, and Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Next Take Pod.
And you can contact us on our email at mikeltanika@gmail.com. That is mikeltanika@gmail.com. So we talked about a lot of topics on this episode. Four topics at best, I believe. We
Yeah,
talked about,
that's a lot of stuff.
yeah.
Honestly, it's like
The
four topics, and then
yeah
like other stuff.
I think the gun shooting in Ajax,
Yeah,
poor young man,
we talked about like, Satan's
Isaiah,
asshole in the beginning as well. Um,
the Suns, the heat wave,
yeah,
Masai Ujiri not being with the Toronto Raptors, and also
the ones I did, which I can't remember
yeah,
them all at this point.
jeez.
I did.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, Odom Jr.
You just did the last one with the Hamilton. Was it the
Yeah,
Hamilton?
that one I
Yeah,
remembered. I
yeah,
did that
yeah.
one, and then the tragedy that happened on the DVP last year, and then the
Hmm.
first one. Oh yes, we're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah,
the
yeah. You talked about
Canada stuff. Yeah.
Canada stuff. Yeah. So yeah, that's about it. I
Mhm.
believe. You have anything else to say?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. I'm Mikel,
And I'm Tanyka.
I Ted Rogers once again.
Wow.
And have a good summer, kids.
All right.
Enjoy that, and I'm out. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.